At the KSMO studios, hometown radio station, KSMO 1340 AM, 95.7 FM. It is Inter-County Tuesday, and again, we want to thank Heather for making it across.
Yeah,
A little bit
absolutely.
worried this morning. How you doing, girl?
Good. Doing
Good.
well.
Great. Anyway, we are here, and I know it's early. Got annual meeting we got to talk about.
I know there's lots of things
And-
to talk about.
And we also have to talk about our juniors.
We
A little
do.
bit.
Yep.
So, I mean, we had a bunch of stuff. And anybody that has not yet, or maybe they've received it by now, the rural Missouri.
Oh,
For-
yeah, this
for-
far in the month.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
should've-
you're
yeah.
starting to, you were talking about it last month, and some of the articles in there are just pretty cool. You really, I think they need to read them, especially the history
Absolutely.
of Inter-County.
Yeah.
It really is kind of interesting in case maybe you weren't around back then and you didn't have any idea what happened.
Right. This gives you an idea.
Or you were back then, and it might remind you of what happened.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's been really interesting to kind of research and get to talk to the different people. So just a reminder, throw this out there right away. If you remember when you first got power to your home, you were a young child, please call. I'd love to chat with you, share your story, kind of what life was like before the lights came on in your home and after you had power hooked up. And spoke to a lady just a few weeks ago. She'll be in the April magazine. She was 8, I think, when power came to her house, and she remembers the day it got installed and what it was like and what it was like before. And it's just, we take for granted that when you flip the switch, the lights come on. That wasn't always the case. And getting to hear these stories and share these stories has been really, it's been really rewarding for me.
It should be eye-opening because as you say, we are so accustomed in the last 100 years how things have changed to where we just assume that's the norm. It
Right.
wasn't the norm.
Right.
It wasn't even close to the norm
No,
at
not at
one
all.
time. And I hope people, when they read these articles, do realize, and especially the younger people, you didn't have devices. You didn't have handheld devices, be it a phone, a tablet, anything else, much less PCs, much less
Right.
anything else. TV wasn't even heard of. You think back, I mean, that's why people worked and worked and worked. And your playtime, usually like a Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon when families got together, that was your relaxation.
Well, and they grew and raised their own food, so
Sure.
there was a lot of work to do in the garden and with the livestock, and you didn't just run to the store. The lady that I talked to a few weeks ago,
Store.
she said they went into town maybe once a month,
Yeah.
and that was for things like flour and sugar, but not like we just pop in the grocery store after work and grab stuff to fix for dinner and get the leftovers and put them in a
Refrigerator, which didn't exist either.
yeah, it was a totally different time. There was a lot of work that had to be done, and they did it. There wasn't an option.
Yeah. That was the way of life.
Yeah.
And, as we progress years through years and things change slowly, but it doesn't sound like it's slowly when you talk about 100 years and how long, we start talking about 250 years of the United States.
Yeah.
This is pretty quick.
Yeah,
in the
that's
last-
true.
In the last 100 years. And actually, we talk about Inter-County, and that wasn't even until the 1930s when you start thinking about who actually came up with this plan that we're going to have to do this.
Right.
How is it going to get done?
Right. How are we going to convince?
Because you got people living in sticks that probably haven't been seen in years.
Yeah. Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
So
And
you're
there
going
was-
back through property. You just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, that's true. And, there was a lot of support for the co-op coming through back when it was first incorporated back in 1936.
Excuse me.
But there were some people, naysayers, I guess you'd call them. They didn't want power. What do we need power for? I'm just fine. I don't need it. We found a newspaper article, actually. A lady from Licking found an article from 1952, and it was written by Mrs. W.R. Fisher, which was the first general manager's wife, and she was very involved in the co-op too. And she wrote it about when the co-op was first being formed as a reminder, because she said these young kids don't know what it was like to be without power. And this was in 1952. And so she had wrote on there, she wrote in that article that there were people when they were going door to door to find out, would you be interested? They said, if God wanted me to have electricity, I would have had it.
Well, it's here.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were just like,
But also
No.
Heather, you also had to remember, people had a routine,
they did.
and you don't mess up the routine. That's how they were probably born into that routine, raised using that routine on the farm. Nothing changed, whether they got to do chickens in the morning or hens or milk the cows or whatever it might have been. Your chores never changed, except when you got replaced by somebody younger than you were, and then you got to do the older person stuff as you're replacing them. It was a consistent, basically, you had your own plan. Every
Right.
family had their own plan, and that's what they followed all the way through times. And I remember my mom, not my mom, but my grandma and my grandpa, they had a huge, huge garden in the city. I mean, they had no lawn, basically little lawn in the front, and a little lawn in the back. That's it. But a garden that was almost an acre.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, that's how they lived.
Yeah.
You lived off the ground. And if you had some meat, my dad was in the wholesale meat distributorship. Well, you a meat man, you are living high on the hog, because you can go get the piece of meat you want, and you're not taking it out of your stock.
Yeah.
Because at that time, your stock was very important. So many things have changed. But if you go back and if you analyze every one of those families, they probably did things as they knew how to do them for all those years, and nothing really changed.
Right. And it was working. It
was
worked for
working.
them. Yeah. And they didn't know different until it came. And
What would Heather be doing without Intercounty Electric?
well, I wouldn't be here talking on the radio, that's for sure.
I mean, did you ever think about that? I mean, you actually work for an electric company, but when you think about it, before that actually came up, what would somebody, maybe with your expertise, be doing? The communications like you're in didn't exist.
Right.
And you think, what would I do? I mean, newspapers were still about the only way to communicate. That may take days. And the U.S. mail, it was still, it was there. But when you think about it, I often thought about it too. I was being in radio. I thought, when the radio goes silent, there really is nothing for me to talk about.
Right. Yeah. Well,
That's the truth. It really is. So, anyway, but nothing taking anything away from history. We all have seen so many changes, and a lot of them for the better, and some of them I think could have probably been maybe taken a look at a second time before it actually became more of a standard. But the amount of different people that you're encountering right now with all these memories and all this history really that you're coming across, that's gotta make you feel kind of pretty good to bring it back out, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah, it really does. And they've got some really incredible stories. They really do. And like you said, we take for granted what we have, and how easy it is, how accessible things are. And that just wasn't always the case. And, talking about that newspaper article, they were sharing about a gentleman who every month he was in the office. I want to get power. I want to get power. I want to get power. He was too far from the line at that time. And he would come in every month with his $5 membership fee. And he's like, he wanted to get power. And finally, one month he put it on the table and he pressed it across. He said, you're going to take it this time. He had a team of mules move his home. He moved his home up to where he was close enough to get power to his home. And he said, I guarantee you'll take it today. I moved my house. That's how much people were willing to do to get electric to their homes. And it just amazes me.
And the funny part about it is, Heather, they knew how to move their house.
Yeah, so it was called wrenching. They would wrench it, and they'd use a team of mules, and the mules would walk in a circle, and they would wrench.
Yeah, you picked up your house, you secured the foundation, and then they usually sometimes they even put timbers down to roll it. And then they put another timber in front and another timber in front.
Right, there were probably lots of methods to do that.
And they kept pulling it by mules and moving and shifting and getting the
it's
ground.
amazing.
Oh gosh, yeah. Where there was a will, there was a way.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people, and I know we're kind of getting off our inter-county here, but years ago when the Current River you'd float logs down. People looking at it today, oh, it's too shallow. You never could have done that. Well, years ago it wasn't
Yeah.
that way. And then you had the mill, Montauk Mill right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then down below it, you had the Current River. Well, Current River doesn't look like it does now. There was no bridge at Cedar Grove, and there was
Right.
nothing. But the timber cut near Montauk all got floated down toward Eminence.
Yeah.
That area down there. You had Jack's Fork and you had the Current, and both of those were big timber floating rivers. Okay.
Yeah.
Cut your ties, cut everything else that you need to. You float them down, you put them on a railroad up there, and they got moved to the city.
Yeah. That does make me think of something that does relate to Intercounty's history. So we have records that it was back in the 40s. There was a pole shortage. Of course, there's the war. And they did not think they were going to continue to be able to expand. They thought,
Oh, wow.
because they just could not get poles. And our records say that there was a gentleman from Raymondville who contacted Intercounty and said that he had timber and that he could supply poles. And I've got it in the magazine,
Wow.
but I think it was something like 40 or 50 poles a day he was providing to the co-op. We have no idea who this guy is. There's not a name, but I'm like,
those poles cost.
I don't know, but they had to load them up and they sent them, I think, to like St. Louis or somewhere so that they could be treated.
Right? So,
But he was the one. There was, all we know is a gentleman from
wow.
Raymondville. So
God,
if
cut
you
his
know,
trees down, shape them up, and
yeah. So if you
Gosh.
know who that might have been, we would love to
wow.
find out who that was. I mean, he kept the co-op growing during a
Well,
time
at
where
least-
we
at
thought,
least, at least with poles.
yeah, yeah, and that's what we were short on
Right,
at that
right.
time. That was the holdup, was the poles.
It would just slow down the progress tremendously,
Mm-hmm.
but he came forward. I mean, and that's that's the great thing about the history of our nation. Individual people who nobody may notice
Mm-hmm.
can step forward one day
Right.
and be a big savior of a project, or in this case, keep Intercounty Electric expanding.
Right.
You never know what each day is going to bring, and that's why I love to see each day come forward. You know, if you have every day planned out, you don't do anything different. If you've closed your eyes to what's around you, you really have,
Yeah.
and your ears probably too, because you got so set in your ways. And I'm not saying you really have, and a lot of people today, but it's unfortunate we get kind of our faces stuck into our electronic devices. But when you think back, you had to know your neighbors. You had to respect your neighbors. You had to know your marketeers. If you went to market, more than likely as a general store or something similar to a general store, and you knew everybody in there, you know, that was your form of communication. But also, that was a form where you found out things if you needed them, who had them.
Right. Well, and kind of a common theme across talking to these different individuals that have called in and shared their stories about remembering what it was like before they got electric and then afterwards. Neighbors were there. People helped people. People had time for people. And that's kind of been what I've been hearing, is that when it came wheat thrashing time, there may be one farmer, one neighbor within a huge amount of property
Maybe a mile.
that had the equipment to harvest that, and they would just do it. And there was never, Mary, the lady that I talked to this last month, she said there was never any discussion about what payment would be. Like, he didn't charge my family. My family didn't pay. We couldn't pay him, but he's the one that had the equipment. And so he would move from neighbor to neighbor and just take care of it. But she said then there were things like her grandmother was really good at natural medicine, I guess you would call it now. And so she would be helpful to neighbors, and she said people just had time for people. And
shared
that's kind of
everything.
what we've
Yep.
lost.
Yep. And that's true. That's true. Stories my mom told me. My grandfather was a doctor
Okay.
back in the Depression in St. Louis, and people didn't have any money. So, and they made house calls. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
And they would give him a chicken. That was the payment, and he'd take it.
Yeah.
You did not take it because
And it was insulting.
that was insulting.
Yeah.
So you took their chicken. So you can imagine, here's a doctor driving around in his car in St. Louis in the 30s, and all of a sudden he has to stop, make 3 or 4 stops, and he has chickens and goats and everything in his car.
Yeah.
he had, and I'll say my grandfather was doing pretty well. He had a pretty good spread in St. Louis, outside St. Louis, actually, in saint Louis County. And he would take those animals and take them back to his farm.
Yeah.
And he continued to practice medicine into the 50s. And he even made mention to me when I was a little kid. He goes, it's not like it used to be. They had pride.
Yeah.
They would not accept just charity. They wanted to give you something. It didn't matter what it was. He goes, and you never turned it down.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
That might be all they have that they can give you. And you take it.
Yeah.
And you thank them and you move forward.
Yeah.
We don't see things like that anymore. You don't have the money? Tough.
Right.
Go away.
Right. Or here's an organization that'll pay for it.
Yeah, or
for
find
you.
somebody else to pay for it.
Which, I'm grateful that there's those organizations so people can get the help that they need. But yeah, I don't know if you walked into a doctor's office with a chicken and a pet carrier, you'd get much service.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But again, people dealt with people. Mm-hmm. Now you don't deal with people. You deal with a screen. You deal with a phone line, or cell phone, or you deal with some kind of electronics or technology. Mm-hmm. And we all know you can't even talk to somebody on a phone anymore. You call, you're going to get a robo. How do I get to that? Well, dial 1 for this, dial 2 for that, dial 3 for that. As soon as you click on it, it says voicemail full, and it kicks you right back off.
That's frustrating.
We have sophisticated ourselves so much that we have forgot the human element.
Right. And that's the trend I think that these individuals have been sharing, is that technology has been amazing. Electricity has brought some really great things. Our world is better because of it. But as time has went on, people have less time for each other. And that's sad.
It is.
We gotta remember to check on each other and help each other out. And
the world is a balancing act. People help people all the time. How do they help them? Well, we improve our technology. We provide electricity. We got natural gas. We've got oil. We continue to improve different things. But at the same time, with that, you sacrifice something else. And that will always be the case. For example, somebody said, well, tell me what an example is. I said, well, I'm going to tell you an example real quick. There was no Google when I grew up. You went to the library. If you wanted to research something, you had to go to the library. You might have had World Book encyclopedias at home, or Encyclopedia Britannica. They used to sell them door to door.
Yeah, we got ours from the grocery store.
Yeah,
actually, you got so many punches on your card, your points.
You can get them. All right. So I said, so you did not have Google. You did not have any of the other search engines out there. You went to the library, and you had to get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 different sources from magazines and books and even
Journals
reference books and different things of that nature. So you were up to date. You knew how to research things to make sure they were real.
Right.
Look at the problems we're having today with scams, and people continue to tell you, I can do this and do this. That's not real. We have no way of verifying that. But you don't go research it either. You just sit on your phone. So you got a little bit lazy. Whatever Google says must be true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's not necessarily. And then you see how many different things are underneath it. And you start reading that stuff, and you have 500 different interpretations of the same thing. Which one is more legitimate than the other? You have to actually read them all to try and get an idea of, okay, these people say this, these people say this. Which is more accurate? We're kind of getting off our inner county, so I want to get it back. But again, if you had to go do research at a library, you remember how painstaking that was. And sometimes the book you were looking for wasn't there. It was gone. Or somebody else was using it.
Yeah.
And you had to wait. You had to be patient. Or you had to go talk to them and say, excuse me, can I borrow that book for about 15, 20 minutes? I'll bring it right back. So you had to be much more personable. Now, most of that has been lost.
Yeah, we've got a lot of information just available really quickly at our fingertips every day.
But we don't know if it's real.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
That's the problem. All right, but I know one thing that is real is, first off, annual meeting. There's some deadlines. So if you want to listen in, I'm sure Heather can give you some of those deadlines. You got, if you want to be board of director, and we do know that the annual board meeting picnic, get together, call it whatever you want to.
Right.
Will be the last Friday in June
Yes, it is going to be the last Friday in June
this year.
this year. But we are changing the time.
Yep.
So instead of 8 to noon, it's going to be 3 p.m. to 8. We're going to change that.
You get to sleep in
Well, I don't know that we'll get to sleep in.
a little more.
Maybe a little more. But, our members, it takes both people in a household to work. And it's hard when we're wrapped up by noon to get out and be able to come and join us for annual meetings. So our board says, hey, let's try an evening. And we're going to give that a try this year. And hopefully we have a good crowd. We've got... I'm trying to think. The band changed their name. Kimball Parker Band is going to be doing our entertainment, and they're going to play. And then I think they've said, hey, if people want to hang around, we're just going to keep playing. So,
Well, there you go.
yeah. So hopefully a fun evening. Hopefully family can come out and join us. The guys are still going to grill, so it'll be dinner instead of lunch. But there'll still be a meal provided. There'll still be a registration gift. You'll still get the opportunity to vote for your board of directors. We don't have any proposed bylaw changes this year, so it will just be the director election.
Okay.
But we will have an open seat. One of your representatives from here in Salem, he represents our central district, Tom Fleener. He is stepping down from the board. He has
You've been there a while.
He's done a fantastic job. We're gonna lose a lot with him, but we know that there'll be several people interested in that, in running for that seat. So there will be an election that hopefully our members will participate in and vote in. That's part of being a member of a co-op. You get
bet.
to do that. That's what sets us apart from other utilities, investor-owned or municipals. So
And if you'd like to be that person, you can actually.
you can, yeah. So
By April 1st?
April 1st,
Okay.
we need you to reach out to the co-op. We'll get you some information. Nominating committee will meet later in the month. They will go over the applications that they've received. And nominating committee they are not intercounty employees. They are not board members. They are just members from our community. We make sure that they equally represent our different territories. I believe they do an interview. They'll interview those candidates and then they'll put forth the names for the ballot. Also, if you want to say you missed that April 1st deadline, I think I'm going to have to look at my notes here, but
Doesn't happen very often.
it
does
doesn't happen very often. I think it's the 9th, but there's a petition by date that if you're interested in being on the
Should
board.
be in rural Missouri, should it not be?
Yep, April 9th it is.
Okay.
So if you missed that deadline to get your application for that nominating committee by the 1st, you've got just a little over a week, but you've got until the 9th. You can submit a petition and signatures and be considered to be put on the ballot that way. But that deadline is not much later than
a
the
little
1st.
over a
So
week.
yeah, but
still, if
that
you
gives you
miss that
some
day.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, there's another option.
Yeah. And then, as always, we're going to use the Rural Missouri. The June magazine will be your official notice. So we'll have a ton of information in the June magazine. We'll have last year's financial reports, last year's meeting minutes. So that way you've got that all ahead of time. We'll have information about the day, kind of what's going on. And that'll be the June magazine. Now, one big change this year is that there will not be ballots in the June magazine because we are going to offer online voting. And there'll be a 2-week window where members can vote online. If you want to vote, but you can't come to the meeting, you can stop in any of our offices, Rolla, Licking, or Mountain Grove during that window. And we're going to have iPads available, and the employees there can help you vote online. If you don't think that you can do it at home, or maybe you don't have service to be able to do it at
You're
home.
going to be gone
or-
that weekend. You're leaving at noon.
Right, but
Can't make it to the meeting.
But if for some reason you think you want maybe a little bit of assistance getting
Send that too.
that pulled up, we're going to have iPads in the office so that you can do it that way. And if you want to vote by mail, there will be a way that you can request a ballot to be mailed to you that you can return. I don't want to say we're discouraging that. there's just not any guarantee that your
Vote
vote
gets
will
there on
get
time.
in on time.
Yeah.
And so this online option, in the office option, or obviously in person, that's still an option. Those are surefire ways we will get your vote. Your vote will count. We will get it by the deadline. It will arrive, if you will,
Right.
because we want everybody's voices to be heard.
Sure. I mean, we all know the U.S. mail isn't what it used to be.
We just don't want somebody that wanted to vote to not have their vote count because
Right.
it didn't get to us in time. So
Gosh, things have changed. I remember the old proxies and things.
I know.
like that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changes, but our
Heavily.
members, so every other year we've been doing member surveys, satisfaction surveys.
Sure.
And one of the things that our members have said is if they're not able to attend, first of all, because it's not at a convenient time, but then maybe their magazine didn't arrive timely enough that they were able to vote. So hopefully we're addressing both of those issues. We're changing the time. Hopefully we'll have more families come and join us. And then also making voting more easy, especially for the people that are not able to join us in person. You know, I hope we'll see an increase in the number of members that vote, but we'll find out.
Yeah, absolutely. So be looking for that. A couple changes. Change is not always bad.
It's not, no.
It's not always bad. And you can still attend a meeting and vote.
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yep.
Now, but just remember, it's not at 8 o'clock in the morning, so don't get over there at 8
Yeah.
unless you want to help.
You'll have a while to wait. Yeah. And there's some changes, changing the time changes some of the things that we're able to do or not able to do. And one of the things that doesn't make sense to do in the afternoon is a health fair because that lab work you have to fast for. And so we have a date. I'm going to say we have a date. I'll share it next month. But we are going to do a health fair at our intercounty office inside in the auditorium later this year so that the people that want to have, if they would have attended the health fair at the annual meeting, they look forward to that. They rely on that for their lab work every
Sure.
year. We want to still offer that to the community. So we're going to open up our auditorium. We're going to bring in the hospital, the staff. They've agreed to still do that for us. It just won't be on annual meeting date. So we'll advertise that as it gets closer and share that on here especially too. But
And the hospital will work with Intercounty to
Yeah.
make sure that the date is appropriate, that it works for everybody. Let's
Right.
put it that way.
Right. And depending on how this goes, if we have a good turnout for it and there's interest in the other ends of our service area, if Phelps County wants to do something in Rolla, we can partner and get something figured out there. Or if Mountain Grove area, if we want to do it, it's new. And so we don't know. Is there interest? Is there not? Will there be a turnout? Will there not? We don't know yet because it's new, but we definitely want to make sure for our members who relied on that we've got an option for them still.
Very good. Very good. The annual meeting will be here before you know it. It's hard to believe.
It will, yeah.
Like yesterday hit 80 degrees in Fort Leonard. 80.
I know today's like going to be 78.
Yeah, it's going to be
isn't
78,
it?
but
Yeah,
with that in March, you know what that brings.
I know. And our
Iffy weather.
our annual meeting is outside. It is at a park. We have had years where it has been stormy and cold and rainy and windy.
Not so much cold.
We've had some cold.
I mean, cool.
cool.
Come on.
Yeah.
You
if
didn't have
it's-
any snow.
No. But if it's rainy and windy and dark
Oh,
and
yeah,
cloudy,
I
it can
mean,
be cool.
Sure can.
But then we've had some scorchers
Oh,
too.
yes, we
so
have.
it's just, you hope for good weather and
And
you
now-
deal
now
with
you're
what
gonna be
you
in
get.
the middle of the day. It's going to be could be a little bit warmer to get started.
It could, or there could be evening storms that roll in that we didn't have to deal with
That's
in the
true.
past. So you never know. It's kind of a flip of a coin. Is it going to be nice weather or not? And that's going to affect the crowd a
Sure,
lot.
well, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, anyway, annual meeting last Friday of June.
Yes.
Last year it wasn't the last Friday of June.
No,
Was it 2 years ago?
last year it was
Two
2 years ago. They
It
changed
wasn't.
it up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had
It
to
threw us all. We
do
couldn't
that
say
fourth Friday of June.
Yeah, we couldn't say last Friday in June because it
Ooh,
wasn't.
Yeah. So anyway, but yes, this year it will be.
Right.
So again, mark it on the calendar, put a big X on it. Take a Post-it note, put it on your refrigerator.
Something.
Put it into your phone.
Right? Put a reminder on there.
Whatever you need to do. Not at 8 in the morning. 3 in the afternoon.
3 in the afternoon.
Okay, very good. So, again, little things you learn from rural Missouri, which is always a good reason why you should always get it and read it. And read the intercounty edition as well. The other edition, it doesn't have the intercounty insert in the middle. Won't help you too much on that. It'll give you some great articles, but it won't be telling you the pertinent information of your co-op.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
good stuff.
But it is still a very good magazine to read. Always got some great articles, great little insights, places you may not even have ever known existed.
Yeah. And events too. The event calendar's in there. And remember, if you have an event you want to advertise in there, you can go to Rural Missouri's website and there's a place to, I'm trying to think what the exact wording is, but you submit your event information for the magazine. It's going to ask you what the event is, where it's at. I think probably contact information for you.
But do it way ahead of time.
Do it way ahead of time. Yeah.
Don't wait till, man, I meant to do that last week. No, not a week ahead of time, not even just a month ahead of time, really. I mean, because you got to get it in by a deadline so that they can get it organized. So please, if you've got an event coming up in August, get it in now.
Right. Because the magazine I'm working on now is May's.
Yeah.
April's is already done and printed. Yeah.
That's history.
You're too late. But if you've got something in May,
it's future history, but it's history.
Right. Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. There you go. Back to the future, right?
Something like that.
Future, absolutely. But it's a great source for getting information about smaller communities who may not have the budget to go advertise things on TV and even if you put it on Facebook. Again, remember, if you're not a friend of somebody on Facebook, you don't get that information. It's just not going to get to you unless somebody shares it with you. And of course, people don't share as much as they used to. Everybody used to share. Everybody used to do that stuff. Anymore, nobody knows who it is.
Yeah.
So they don't share as much as they used to. Seeing that becoming an incident. I'm reading somewhere the other day that social media is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller because people, once they open up something to share to somebody else, they share with somebody else, and all of a sudden it's somebody they don't like or they don't know, and they're contacting this other person and they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not happy with that. So
lots of layers.
Couple. I mean, you learn by doing, and so I mean, we all remember MySpace.
Yes, I do. Aging myself here.
You were just a wee kid, though, just about 3 or 4 years old, I'm sure, right?
Oh, thank you, Stan.
Trying to
so
help.
kind.
I'm trying to help. Okay,
I remember my elders talking about it. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My grandparents were talking about MySpace. But that MySpace was probably a little closet over in the corner.
Right.
If I remember my elders, you go to your space. Oh, MySpace? Yeah, not the same.
You didn't have your own space. Who are we kidding?
No,
it was all shared
space.
space.
I actually did. And it really is kind of funny. Well, it wasn't my parents that put me there. It was my siblings that put me there. And trust me,
they put you in your place.
They called it MySpace because I'm the only one that could fit in it.
Yeah.
And it was basically a little small closet that held light bulbs and stuff like that. Yeah, they'd shove me in there and then close it and then put a table in front of it.
That sounds awful.
So when the parents came home, they said, "We don't know where he went."
He trapped himself in there.
Well, I'm just glad I was so small because I just don't really remember. I think I probably fell asleep in there a couple times. It was really dark. There was no light.
What are you going to do? Yeah, take a little nap.
And I could start kicking the door and I'd break the table. No, that would have been even worse. So I just waited till they got home. Once I knew they were home, I'd start tapping. They finally figured it out.
Oh, my.
Oh, well. Those good old days. Good old days. Anyway, but yes, annual meeting last Friday of June.
Right.
Don't miss it. 3 o'clock will be start time.
That's right. Yeah.
And you don't have to bring your Rural Missouri magazine with you. There's no ballot to bring with you. I mean, what is this? This is crazy.
Now you can still, we'll put the barcodes on that back address label. So when they come to annual meeting, if they have their magazine, that back cover, check-in will be a lot easier because they'll just scan that barcode and you'll get through the registration line a lot easier. But they will be able to look you up if you don't have that. We're not going to ask you to turn around and go back home and get your magazine.
We're not going to ask you to bring a magazine somewhere if you don't want to. So,
yeah, but your registration card will be
still there.
Yep, it'll still be there.
Yes, but you don't have to bring it. but in the years gone by, many years ago, I know when I first started, you had to have your card. You had to have the card.
Yeah, we had a separate line for a lost card line,
Yeah.
and it was a lot. It took a lot more time
Yeah.
to look up your account, and
With that old card, if you couldn't make it, you had to give that card to somebody else as a
Yeah.
proxy, and they could vote for you.
yeah,
Or you could try and mail it in back in the day. You could sign
Right.
it and send it off in the
yeah,
envelope.
request.
And yeah, you could try and do that.
Yeah, lots of changes, but
Lots of changes.
hopefully good.
Yes. Anyway, but we've seen some changes. With COVID, we had changes. And Intercounty has tried to adjust those changes and make improvements as time goes on,
Right.
and maybe even learn a little bit from some of those.
Right, and the annual meeting, our members, it's kind of a fixture in the community. It's the intercounty picnic.
Picnic, you bet.
And during COVID, you mentioned that we had to go to a drive-in type meeting. A lot different than what we're used to. We were not the only co-op that did that, but a lot of co-ops have kept that format. They've stayed with that. Intercounty has not. We said,
I just don't.
hey, our members want that
It's
connection.
not very personal.
Well, what we were talking about earlier, people have time for people.
Yeah.
We're a co-op, and we are supposed to be more personal, and it's not just a drive-up meeting.
Aren't you owned by your members? Aren't they
Yeah.
people? Shouldn't they talk to each other?
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
have to honk their horn at each other?
Right. Sign language to the window, something like that.
Yeah, very good. All right, very good. Let's move on.
'Kay.
Okay. We had an essay contest in
We did.
February.
We did. January and February. The kids
Yeah.
had hopefully plenty of time to
You
get
didn't
those.
have any weather issues this year.
We
Getting the
didn't.
word out.
I know. We got lucky because there were some snow days
There
after
were.
we finished up, but we got lucky, I guess. We
Yeah.
got to all the schools on the first try, on the first
Wow, that
date
is
without
pretty
any
amazing.
rescheduled snow days. So, this year we asked the kids to write about a lesson they've learned in life so far. And the schools are not required to send the essays back into us. We have to have the student information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you'll recall, those essays are judged at the school level. The
Right.
top essays come to us.
Correct.
And then the second part of the contest is an interview, which if convincing kids to write a voluntary essay wasn't hard enough, then you get to tell them, oh, if you win, you get to do an interview. And then you can imagine they're thrilled. They're so excited.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe 6.
They tell us afterwards that it was easy, that they shouldn't have been worried, but they're all worried and nervous ahead of time. But
How many kids that age have had an interview?
not very many of them. But I was impressed. Several of the schools we went to, the teachers are doing mock interviews with the kids. They're kind of bringing that back, and they're doing that. And
Well, that's
so
good.
they have sort of piped up during that part of our presentation and said, guys, most of you are already doing these in Mrs. So-and-so's class, and you're going to be prepared, and
Yeah.
don't stress about this. So I think that's a good thing. They're doing that. And so maybe it's not been a real interview. Maybe it's been a mock interview, but I think it's going to help them be more prepared.
Well, any practice you get on an
Yeah.
interview, it could be just at home with your mom and dad, or you're a sibling.
Right.
Just asking you questions and making you answer, and then kind of trying to put you on the spot and maybe get you prepared for it. That's not what Intercounty does. But
No, we
the
send them,
idea is, though, in a mock interview, if it's like a job interview, they're going to try and see what you know.
right. And so we get the top. This year we did something different. Change. We're talking about change. We asked for the top 4
keep up
essays.
with this.
I know. We asked for the top 4 essays instead of the top 3 because we have students that, for one reason or another,
Can't make it.
they can't attend, especially the Jeff City trip, and we'd like to have an alternate to be able to fill in that spot. Well, without having them go through the entire process, how do you pull somebody? So we
You
asked.
can always ask me.
Right? I know there's lots of adults that have said that they would be willing to go. So,
I mean, if the ticket's just sitting there, I'll take it.
right. I mean,
What the heck?
if you had to,
If
right?
I had to.
Yeah. So we did ask for the top 4 from each school this year, and we had 4 from every school,
That's
which
fantastic.
makes me super happy. Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about, Heather. Make Heather happy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's about time they
Yeah.
figured it out.
You've been arguing and
I
fighting for this
know.
for years.
Yeah. So some of the schools, they do send the essays in with those cover sheets with the contact information, but what we require those coordinators to send in is the contact information. I do read those essays that come in just because I love this program and I love to see what the kids write about. We don't, like I said, we don't judge those. But Stan, let me tell you,
There's some pretty good ones, huh?
there were some really, really powerful essays. And this topic, especially asking the kids about a lesson that they've learned in life so far, I'll tell you, these kids, this generation, I think they get a bad rap for not caring or not wanting to be involved or not being communicative. The cream has really risen to the top. I mean, these kids, the life experiences that they've had, the things that they're pushing through, huge. And the things that they've shared that they've learned, I should have brought some of them with me to read off some of this, but we've got kids that are talking about multiple essays. This was a common trend from each school. There was essays, students feeling the need to be perfect. There's so much pressure for them to be perfect at sports, perfect at school, perfect child, perfect, fill in the blank. They feel so much pressure to do things exactly right. And what they're sharing that they've learned, a lesson they've learned, is that there's no such thing as perfect. And that trying their hardest, putting their best foot forward, doing their best, even if that's not perfect, that is okay, and that they can't beat themselves up for that. And there, like I said, multiple essays from different schools on that same thing. And I'm like, these kids have a lot of pressure. They do, but they're figuring it out, and they're realizing, hey, good enough is good enough, and I don't have to beat myself up.
Or the best that I can do is the best that I can do.
Right. And then we've got kids that they've suffered incredible loss and the lessons that they've learned from that. And we've got kids that have been in the foster care system and they've wrote about that. And we had kids writing about bullying. And the hardest lesson is that not everyone is kind, and that it's important to be kind because you don't know what people are going through. They were good, Stan. They were good essays.
Going back to what we talked about with the history, we have families working together with other families. Sometimes you don't have all that anymore. You just don't have that interaction with people, learn about other people, and not everybody's going to be your best friend. You're going to know that.
Right.
But the people that you don't want to associate with, well, sometimes you have to associate with them one way or another. Sooner or later in life, you may have to do that. Mm-hmm. I love that when you came up with that topic, because it's going to make these kids have to look inside themselves.
They did. There was some vulnerability there, and probably hard. Not hard in the sense that 250 to 500 words is difficult, but hard in the sense that they had to reflect and put on paper some really hard things to share that they
may not feel so comfortable all the time.
Right. But man, just some fantastic essays. I'm really excited to meet these kids. And so we do have 4 from each high school. We've got 9 high schools.
Well, first off, let's thank all the schools for doing this.
Absolutely. These coordinators, that's a lot of work on their part.
Let's thank all the schools.
And letting us in to talk to these kids. They don't have to do that.
Right.
There's a lot of co-ops across the state who struggle to get information to the kids because they're not allowed in the classrooms. And I'm so very grateful for these schools letting us come in, letting us take up some of their classroom
Tip of our
time.
cap to them.
Absolutely. On the 25th of this month, we are asking these kids, these 4 kids from each school, they will come to Intercounty. We have sent them a Q&A packet. There's 20 questions and answers about Intercounty and about electric co-ops in general. They're studying that. And then we'll interview them on the 25th. We have 3 volunteer judges, not employees of the co-op or the board. They are going to come in. They're going to ask these kids the same 5 questions. That way judging is as fair as possible. That way we don't have one student that says, well, I got the hard questions and they got the easy ones. Same questions. We've got a scoring rubric that they use. We've given that to the kids ahead of time so they know how they're going to be scored in that interview. And their score in that interview then is going to determine if they are the highest scorer, they're going to win that trip to Washington, D.C. If they're one of the next two runners up, they're going to win one of those trips to Jeff City because we give 2 to each school. And then this year we'll have the alternate.
Yeah.
And we've told the kids when we went and visited the schools, and we'll reiterate this, chances are they're going to get a chance to go on a trip. Last year was one of our highest years as far as participation in the cycle trip, and we had 9 go, and we had 18 spots. So all 9 alternates in that case would have had a chance to go. But
so they're an alternate, and nobody from a school goes. Can you take 2 of them from one school?
Well, we'll only have 1 alternate from each school
Well, I know,
because
but I
there's
meant,
4.
Could you take?
So,
let's
so the
just-
alternate will fill.
Let's just say the Rolla school, all 3 of them are going to go, and you have that alternate. And let's say the Licky school, they only have 2 people can go. Can that other
Yes.
alternate fill in? Oh,
Yes.
that's a good
So
deal.
we're going to go the alternate for the school. If there's a spot at
Sure.
that school open first, they will be offered that spot first. But then if there's a spot, maybe a second spot open because neither one of the students go or whatever the situation might be,
Sure.
then we're going to offer that to the alternates based on their interview score. So the highest scoring alternate will be given that first shot if they're not already given a chance. But there's a possibility that all of them could go.
You might have 18.
We might have 18.
That'd
would
be fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
That would make Heather happy too.
It would make me really happy. Yeah. So
We did
even
such a good job here.
good job. Yes,
don't
you're on
slow
a roll.
down now. You're on, yeah, absolutely.
But if the alternate does not get the opportunity to go on a trip, the co-op's going to give them some sort of, I don't know if it'll be cash or gift card or what it is, but we're going to give them some money for making top 4. That's a huge feat, and we don't want it to go
Sure.
unrecognized. So yes, you may end up being an alternate on the 25th. You'll probably get to go on the trip, and if not, your essay is going to be worth your time because
All
we're
right.
going to give you something.
The suspense is killing me.
I know, right?
You got to have to tell me who these kids are, and give every school because every one of these kids deserves to be read.
Okay. I apologize in advance if I get your name wrong. I'll figure it out on the 25th when I meet you. But if you recognize any of these student names, please congratulate them, encourage them for their interview. They're probably nervous about that, but
Hey, the first step is done.
yeah, first step is done. They've won something
Yeah,
at this
they
point.
won something.
All right.
These are the people who qualify for the interviews. Okay?
Yes, top essay writers at their school. So looking, we have Elizabeth Bonine, Avery Stevens, Olivia Peterson, and Lillian Godey. In Houston, we have Carissa Creek, Evan Edwards, Addison Daling, Jonathan Causey. In Kabul is Grayson Jones, Emma Webster, Emma Walls, and Brianna Smith. In Mountain Grove is Chloe Angel, Brady Harris, Cara Nelson, and Aspen Shelton. In Plato, we have Cy Helton, Brianna Bennett, Natalie Groh, and Madeline Lathram. In Rolla, we have Monet Lafeche, Ashton Stoney, Destiny Anderson, and Wyatt Stowe. In Summersville, Emily Jewett, Bethany Willis, Riley Baker, and Maddie Bell. In St. James, Preston Hash, Autumn French, Madison Bobbitt Harris, and Gabriel Adams. And then right here in Salem, we have Carl Nez Head, Ivan Brooks, Johanny Marlett, and Emma Purcell.
Congratulations
Yes.
to all those youngsters.
Fantastic.
First off, thank you for participating. Number
Right,
one.
yeah.
Second, congratulations. Third, good luck.
Right. Yeah. They've won something. They're just competing for, at this point, they all want to win the DC trip. And
They're
why
all
wouldn't
winners.
they?
They were all winners when they wrote it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just think how much they might have learned about themselves when they wrote that.
Yeah. And we've had some teachers tell the students, hey, next year you're going to be seniors. This is a topic that could be on a lot of scholarship applications. Hang on to your essay. You can adjust
Sure.
it if you need to next year, but you've kind of got your building blocks in place and some of your work
you
already
go.
done. Yeah,
It's a great little tick on your resume as well.
absolutely.
You
They're
did
coming
this.
back their senior year and they're filling out college applications and
bet.
scholarship applications. And even if they're going directly in the workforce.
Some of them you have to fill out as a junior. So it's kind of crazy now. It's
Yeah.
like applications for scholarship used to be mid-senior year, used to fill them out. That's back in the prehistoric days.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's almost juniors now. after their first semester. They're filling out applications for
Yeah.
scholarships and stuff they're not going to get till they're a senior. Like, wow, seems kind of early.
Yeah. So something that Intercounty did new this year, and I don't think we talked about this last month.
What?
It was very short notice. If you'll remember, last year we had a proposed bylaw change about the unclaimed capital credits.
Yes.
I think we talked
Yeah,
about
we
this,
did
the
talk about
scholarship.
this.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
So at last month's board meeting, hold on, we're in March, right?
Yes,
So
we still
in
are.
January, in the January board meeting, our board said, let's do it, and let's do it this year. And it might be a handful, it might be overwhelming, but let's make it work. And if we need to adjust it next year and make some changes, we will. But let's get some scholarship
Let's get it
applications.
initiated.
Let's get it started.
Yeah.
So that last week of January, I got a hold of the counselors at the different schools, got in touch with them, said, hey, this is what we have. We have a March 2nd, I believe, was the first actual business day of March. But we said, we got a month. Do you think you can get some applicants? And so the counselors were all very, again, kudos to them because we really appreciate the work that they do. But they said, yeah, absolutely. And so they got this information to the seniors. Intercounty is going to be able to give out $100,000 in scholarships this year. And I'm just as excited about that as Youth Tour. I think it's going to become one of my top favorite
Tell
things.
you what, it already kind of was.
Yeah, I know.
But now,
But now, yeah. Yeah.
really going to be.
Anything to do with these kids. I mean,
No, really.
to see them have dreams and the stuff that they want to do after school. And what's really cool about this scholarship is it's not just for 4-year colleges, it's for 2-year, 4-year, a trade school. It can be used at those. And like I said, we may make changes next year. We may not. We may adjust the application. We may adjust the time frame, the window that it's open, or we might look at adding something, maybe an industry related scholarship, something that could go for a student that would be attending one of the lineman schools or something. So lots of options. Our board's definitely looking at it. They are very supportive of youth programs. They want to see an investment in them. And our members, when they approved that bylaw change, said, yeah, this unclaimed money that goes 2 years without being claimed, pump that back into youth and to our communities. And so we're able to do that without having to use budget dollars, which is
Absolutely.
really cool.
And money that unclaimed.
Yeah.
So it's going to good use. So
Yeah. It gets
Now-
kind of recycled back into the
I guess we
community.
may have some people say, well, can they donate to this scholarship fund as well? I mean,
Yeah.
you may not have that established yet.
So right now, it's not something we have established. Next year, we should have something in effect for that to where we can do that. We're looking at there's an organization, Community Foundation of the Ozarks. They manage,
CFO.
they manage a lot of scholarships. And so we're looking at maybe using their services. They have really easy ways to donate to their scholarship funds, but it's also kind of a central location where these kids are already going to search for and apply for scholarships. So
They have
that's
a universal application, and then it tells you what areas you want to go in and which ones will apply to
right.
you.
And we can put in the guidelines that say it has to go to a student within these counties, so we can make it local for us.
Will those students have to be an intercounty?
This year they do.
Okay. But I meant,
That was a requirement this year. And like
Yeah.
I said, we fully anticipate next year there's probably going to be some changes just because we'll see how it goes this year. And
because, a lot of things intercounty offers, it goes to anybody.
right.
You
And just like this youth tour program, these kids, the names that I just read that made top 3 or top 4 essay writers, we don't know if they're members or not. They may be on City of Salem or City of Rolla or City of
Right.
Kabul.
Sure.
But they're still our local community members.
They're in the community.
They are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're in the
So we've
community.
always left that open. Next year, scholarship applications might be open to everybody. I don't know. This year, just kind of getting a feel for, is there interest? Will there be applicants? How well will it be received? Participation. A lot to figure out that first
Sure.
year.
Well, yeah. And this is where you find out how it's going to work. Then you start to,
Fine tune it.
tweak it.
Yeah.
tweak it.
Yep.
Tweak it to fit Intercounty's needs, but also tweak it to fit the students' needs. Mm-hmm. So, very good. Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
That
good
is,
stuff.
it is just a good news Tuesday for Heather. I'm telling you what, she came in bubbling. Got here kind of late, but she came in bubbling.
I was here on time.
You were here on time, but
I wasn't
late for
early.
you.
I wasn't early.
Late for you, yeah. You're usually here good 10, 15 minutes ahead of time, and
Not
you
today.
weren't here.
Nope.
You kind of had us worrying a tad bit.
Oh, just poking down the road.
Well,
that
I
drive
know,
between.
but there are deer out there, and when it
Licking
gets
and
this
Salem.
warm, they really start to scurry. So, yeah, I always worry till you're here,
Yeah.
and I worry till you're over there. Just I'm a warrior. That's, my mom was a warrior.
Yeah.
It just goes with the territory.
Yeah.
All right, very good. What else do we have today?
I wanted to mention one other thing, and then you might have something that we need to talk about. But Intercounty, we talked last month about the member discounts that we
Right.
were going to give out, the $2 million. And if you're not familiar, last year, January and February especially, it was very, very cold. And our members had very, very high bills. And the rest of the year, we met or exceeded our budgetary needs. And so normally what the co-op does is, hey, how much did we generate in excess of what we needed? Let's allocate that to our members. Let's send them a notice letting them know that, hey, their capital credits for 2025, this is the amount of their portion. When our board saw that number, they said, that's unusually high. So let's take $2 million of that off the top. We'll leave the rest for capital credits, but this $2 million, that's in excess of what our normal is. We need to put that back in the pockets of our members because they had really high bills last year. So it was a discount. It's been probably 5 or 6 years since we have done a discount before, or since we've done the last discount. And we did it different. We're talking about new things and changes. We did it different this year, and we're kind of learning. But I'll tell you, we've had some members ask, why didn't you just take it off my bill? And when we took it off the bill, like I said, 5 or 6 years ago, we've only done this a handful of times. The majority of our members, what we hear is, well, why are you just keeping it? Essentially, you're just keeping it. You're putting it on my bill, but you're keeping it. You're not really giving me back anything. And so we wanted to take that into consideration. And Stan, the truth is, a lot of our members don't look at their bills. And I know for you, that probably sounds just crazy, but
no. Well,
they look
it
at
does sound crazy, but
they look at the total that's due and they pay that. They don't look at the breakdown of what makes up their bill. And
let's qualify that. I think if their bill is abnormally high,
they might,
they would look at that bill.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people, if it's in the range that they expected, okay, I'm good.
Right. But a discount in February, March, it's normally colder. Your bill's kind of higher. You get a discount of, say, $60 or $70 that comes off of it. You don't even notice it because it wasn't that cold. And yeah, that's probably normal. You pay it. It's not until sometimes the next month when your bill is back higher that then you notice it, or the next year. And what we saw years ago when we did this was the next year, that same month, the next year, we had a lot of members calling in with high bills because they saw last year's bill amount compared to this year's bill amount. Well, how in the world did I use that much more? There's got to be something wrong. And then they were just learning about that discount a year later. So our board said, okay, let's do what our members want. Let's get the money in their pocket. Let's let them spend it how they want. So then the option was, do we send them a paper check or do we use these prepaid gift cards? And the easiest answer I have for you on why we did this was it was a financial decision. There was a cost associated with printing and mailing those checks, tens of thousands of dollars, actually. And it felt a little silly to spend that money to send them money. These prepaid gift cards, we were able to do at a cost of $0 to our members. There's no cost to the co-op. There's no cost to the member. It was a smart decision financially. We're putting money in our members' pockets. If they want to use it to pay their electric bill, they can. But if they need to pick up their prescription or groceries or whatever it might be, they have the option to do this. So Last Monday, not yesterday, but a week ago, members that had email addresses on file with the co-op got an email that said, hey, you have a discount from Intercounty. It's this much money. Do you want to download a digital card or do you want to request a physical card be mailed to you? And then, like I said, they had the option, whichever one they chose. Members who did not have an email address on file that day, they mailed a letter to them that said the same thing the email did. If you want to download a digital card, here's a QR code. You can scan it and download it. If you want a physical card, you can request one of those, and here's how you do that. Now there's a category of people that fall kind of in both because they have an email address on file and either they deleted it, they never opened it, maybe it never arrived. We had some members telling us
Sometimes it goes to spam.
Yep, and this one did. Mine went into my promotions folder, in that spam folder. But we have some email providers that are a lot stricter on what, the filtering, what comes through. And so we know probably some of those emails got blocked if they thought it was potentially spam. So there's a group of people that have email addresses on file that for whatever reason they didn't open that email. They're still going to get that letter. Those were mailed yesterday because the system gave them a full week, a full 7 days to respond to that email. And if they didn't, then they're mailing a letter out. So yesterday, letters were mailed to the group of people with email addresses on file that did not respond for whatever reason.
So there will be a little cost.
No, we still, the company, Choice Digital, that we went through, they are a co-op. They work with co-ops across the nation on
So
gift cards.
You're not paying for postage?
No,
Wow.
we pay nothing. We pay nothing.
Well, that's a good
they want
deal.
they want our business and
Well, heck yeah.
yeah. So
Well, that worked out really well.
no cost to the co-op for that. And like I said, that's the reason behind the decision. We've had some members that have shared their opinions on, I would have rather had a check or I would have rather had a discount. And we take note of that. Absolutely. That's why we changed it this time from last time, because the general consensus was
Sure.
I didn't feel like I got anything. And that's never the intention of the co-op. We're not giving it back to make sure your bill's
The
paid.
printing and mailing a check, there's a large expense.
It is a large expense. And that's, like I said, that's by far the number one reason why we went with the gift cards. Hopefully it's not a major pain, but if you are a member and you're having trouble with getting that decision made, like either
Sure,
getting the card
sure.
downloaded or getting a physical card, there is a support email address and phone number on those letters, and you can reach out and
In case you have an issue.
and get
Yeah.
some help, because we realize that can be a little confusing to someone who maybe's not done that before.
Okay. Is there an expiration date on these gift cards? Because sometimes they do give you a year to use them.
Yeah, so there is, and it's different than what we initially thought. It's a longer time period, and I don't remember, but the expiration date is on the card. Whether you do a digital or you do the physical card, the digital card, it's going to show you. Looks like you
Okay.
took a picture of a card sitting on a table. Or
Best to
when you
use
get
it quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is an expiration date on there, so just be mindful of that.
You know how people get gift cards, they stick them in a wallet,
You don't want to hang on to it for 2
and
years.
then you realize you pull it out and the moths come flying out, and you're like, oh, that expired 2 years ago.
I never used that.
Yeah, and then you feel bad because you missed out.
Yeah. And if you wanted to use it on something like your electric bill, you can either call our pay by phone line,
Sure.
or you can use the pay now button on our website, or you can log into Smart Hub, or you can come in the office. I mean, any of the other ways that you normally pay, you can pay using this card.
Right.
So if you don't know what you're going to use it for, you can call and make a payment for the exact amount that is on that card, and it'll credit your electric bill.
There you
And
go. And of
can use
course,
that
if
way.
you have any questions about that, you can just contact Intercounty.
yeah, you can call.
And there is a
Absolutely.
number to that.
Yeah. So our toll-free number, hopefully you've got it stored in your phone anyway.
You should.
You should. But our toll-free number is 866-621-3679. You can give us a call if you have any questions about those discounts or youth tour program or anything that we've talked about today, or maybe something we didn't talk about that you have questions on.
But the only thing that I had still to talk about is just make sure, now that we're starting to get back outdoors, make sure if you're doing boating or you have a dock or you have something outside, even outlets outside that may have gotten exposed to water. We've had a lot of rain.
Right. Yeah.
If something has gone underwater, call an electrician.
Yes.
Please make sure it's safe before you get out there and plug in your electric lawnmower and you watch everything light up. That's not a good idea.
Not a good idea, no.
So that was about the only thing, especially boat docks.
Yeah.
They do rise and fall sometimes, and sometimes those wires, even though they try and give you plenty of slack to go up and it'll just stay there, maybe not as much slack as you thought. And especially if it rose about 1.5 feet or 2 feet, you may have actually pulled that line a little bit. It may be loose and it may have fallen into water.
Yeah.
Could be a shocking experience to say the least if you put your tootsies in there.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, what a beautiful day to put. Yeah, it's not going to be a good thing. So we don't want anybody to get hurt with enjoying the upcoming spring. Not far away now, just a couple weeks.
I know. It's exciting.
But it's feeling like spring now, and I'm seeing a lot of people get outside and do things.
Yeah.
And I'm warning them, we just had a lot of rain Friday night. And if you have buried cables in your yard to where you may have, like in your shed, maybe you've got an electric line that you run underground to that, make sure that's still underground, because I know a lot of small areas, if you didn't bury it too deep, most people don't go put conduit and bury it very deep. Well, if it's come on top of the ground, please
Yeah.
make
definitely.
sure that you take a look at it. If you're not electrically qualified to check that out yourself, please contact somebody.
Absolutely.
Don't
yeah.
just assume, ooh, that's a bad word.
Yeah.
Assume it's safe to go in there. Assume it's safe to use that outdoor plug that you have. Should have a ground fault interrupt on it. Please make sure that you have the right types of sockets everywhere that you need them, especially brass. For your bulbs outside, even though they're LEDs now, they still have brass ones. You can screw in there. You want brass. Do not put an aluminum bulb, base bulb, into an outdoor socket. It will crust up, and you can't get it out. Put a brass bulb.
Yeah.
They don't do that.
Well, and the good thing is when you go to shop for things like outlets and different things, they're going to very plainly say if they're rated for outdoor use.
Right.
So just be mindful of that. And also, I kind of piggyback on that. Springtime coming up, if you've got that to-do list that's kind of built up over the winter and you've got any outdoor projects, make sure you call 811 before you start digging, because there's underground utilities and
There
they
sure are.
they can shift. You can forget where they're at. Maybe you've moved into a new place. You don't know where they're at all. That is a free service. Make sure you're calling 811 to have those utilities marked.
Or they may have moved since you moved in.
Right. Yeah, they can shift.
Because, well, I mean, not only that, they may have been on a pole one time, and then now they're not on a pole anymore. They're in the ground, and maybe you were unaware of that. I don't know why you would be, or maybe you forgot that they moved them to the ground.
Well,
Does happen.
it's just a good visual reminder. Here's where the stuff is at underground. I don't want to dig here. This is how I know I'm going to be safe.
Exactly.
And it doesn't cost you anything to call. So do it.
Well, let's do it.
'Kay.
Heather, as always, thank you for coming
Yeah,
by.
thank you.
Heather's a happy girl today. Oh,
Yeah, 'cause the
man.
weather's
Oh,
nice.
And
And I had all kinds of good stuff to talk about.
yeah, but
Youth tour,
every
scholarships,
school,
giving money back.
every school
I know.
had full participation
Yeah.
in the youth tour.
I'm crossing my fingers they all show up for the interview, because we normally have a handful that I don't know if it's nerves or if it's actually scheduling stuff or
But
what.
you have an alternative plan this time. You have those alternates. So even if one or two or three don't show up,
Hopefully we still have full participation.
exactly. I mean, it's full.
Yeah.
Right now, you could have excess participation
We
because
could, yeah.
some of those people could come in and they're not gonna get anything.
We're going to give them some money.
Well, you know what I mean. You're not going to get the tour.
They're not going to get a
Yeah,
trip,
yeah,
no.
you're not going to get that.
But we don't want to. We do not want them to be empty-handed.
No. I don't mean
So-
it that way. I mean, but they're not going to win the big prize.
Right.
And then they're not really even going to win second place. They're going to get a kind of a third place thank you.
Yeah.
But still, not as
Yeah.
good as going to Jeff City. Really not as good as going to D.C.
No.
But still, a big thank you will go out to those students. But again, let's hope that all of them show up.
Yeah. I would love to send 9 to DC and 18 to Jeff City.
I think it'd be fantastic.
I do too.
But again, thanks to the schools, thanks to Heather, thanks to Intercounty, thanks to the students. Without them,
Yeah.
doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, that's
You
absolutely
know,
right.
and we've in the years past, we know sometimes we've had one,
Yeah, I know. Or
some
none.
Yeah. So glad to have that happen. Heather, as always, thank you much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Drive back safe.
Absolutely.
It's kind of clouded up now a little bit, so talking about getting some rain tonight. You should be good to go back, so please drive careful. I know it's
I
going to be
will.
about 80 degrees, so you may take the long way home.
Yeah.
Enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, again, thank you. Remember, we do stream our inter-county interviews with Heather. They are on KSMORadio.com, KSMO Stream Facebook, or KSMO YouTube. If you've missed something, we do appreciate her making her way over, and we do this every second Tuesday here on KSMO Media. Again, I thank you to
Yeah, thank you.
all of our friends in inter-county for doing this. And don't forget that last Friday of June, 3 o'clock,
Annual meeting.
meeting, inter-county picnic. Call it what you will. Very good. You have a fantastic
Thank
rest
you.
of the
You
day.
too.
And we will talk to you again next month, April. Hard to believe.
Yeah,
It'll be springtime then.
I know.
You're anxious.
Right,
All
yeah.
right, very good. Well, again, thanks, Heather, for coming by and
Thank
talking
you.
to us today on KSMO. Here at your hometown radio